Hey, wonderful teachers. It's time for another Buzz Tip of the Week. I wanted to go over with you the daily rhythms since we've got it's back under our belt. We're back into a new school year. I do want to talk to you about those daily rhythms and what the requirements are. So the first thing that we kind of need to do is have a participation grade that is in the student's course for them if you're using participation. I do not use participation. I use something that is called classwork. So what I've done with each of my students, that first class last week that we had, I went in with them and we set up the classwork. Now the classwork I use when they are working on their projects. I have a project-based system that I'm using with most, if not all of my students. So we set up a project and when they are allowed time during class to work on that project, then I will put this classwork piece in here. And then I sit with the student and we devise the rubric that they want for their classwork. So these are things that they want to focus on. So this particular student, she wanted to focus on her use of time. Sometimes she gets distracted. So she wants to be able to get a significant amount of progress done on the project. The critical thinking and the reflective portion, she wants to put some thought into how her art is going to look and how she's using the elements of art in that process. And then creativity. She wants to have some outside the box type of thinking, trying new things going into the artwork. We talked about if any one of these are more important than the other, and for her, they all have equal importance. So she set them at 20 points each. So our rubric is a total of 60 points. So we set that up together. And I did that with each one of my students last week. So you do want to have a content piece in for every single session. If you don't have any saved over in your library, you come here, you can add a file attachment and, type up what you did, a rich text activity, typing up what you did, put in a website link or a YouTube video. I usually have a rich text activity, and then outside of that, if I have some paperwork that I gave them, I'll attach those in a file attachment. I'll also upload any videos that we watched in addition, any websites that we went and visited. So everything is a separate piece. So it's easy for the student to find. I found that a bulleted list works really well. You can type up a paragraph to the student if you want to. This is separate than what you are sending home in the narrative for the parents. This is for the student, so you can talk to them like you're actually talking to the student here. So this is pretty much what we did. Sometimes we discuss stuff and then after we discuss, they're working on their project. So I'll put in there what they actually did on their project. Kind of helps them remember what went on during class. If you're going to add homework, again, you just come here and you put in the homework that you are adding. It's a journal or assignment or an interactive assignment, or if you're doing a project wizard, one of the things. All of these over here are the gradables. All of these are non-gradables. So you can even have a discussion activity if you want to. And when you do that, you make sure that you set your due dates and times on that. Make sure that allow late submissions is checked, which would be right over here. Make sure the due date and time is correct, and that activity is gradable. The Dropbox is enabled, and that if you're using weighted categories, it is in the proper category for that student. So those are what you should have under there. Again, content is always needed. Drag over any student abilities that you worked on that day. So just drag them over and it'll show them right here. And then you want to date and initial a folder. Double click on that or click your pencil icon, put the date, put your initials. If it's an NS, put NS and empty that folder of all contents. Then you want to go to your grade book. Make sure that you are updating it. If you had classwork or participation, go ahead and make sure those grades are put in there for that as well. And then you want to go to your Genius charting and make sure that you chart for that class. Of course, it signed me up. So make sure that you chart that class right away or as soon as possible. if it will let me go there. There we go. So make sure that you're keeping this up to date. And then the last thing that you should be doing is going to matrix and then rendering that class. So whether it's taught or that the student was absent. So either one of those will work. If you have questions or if you need any support on this, you can talk to any of your DHs or you can come to me. If there is anything else or something new that you'd like to see, just let me know. Happy charting!